He'll see holiness only in everybody. He has a great experience. He's walking in the Shekhinah all the time, right? He's like the high priest in the Holy of Holies all day long, right? The real pure person, right? And when he does see a flaw, as we said last week, the Baal Shem Tov, he would walk into a sick person, whatever the ailment of that sick person had, right? He would say, oh, this is the Shekhinah is lacking this. The Shekhinah has a problem with this. So he would pray for the Shekhinah, that God should heal the Shekhinah, and then that would reverberate to a physical manifestation of that person healing. That's how he was able to heal all those people. Because he saw everything was a reflection of the Shekhinah back to him. Okay? So that's a perfectly pure person who can do that. We're in training. Okay? We're all in training. Mm-hmm. We don't experience this all the time, right? Our whole day is this, and basically you can go through your day and pick many things that didn't go right or could have been better. It's okay, right? And it's okay to even be annoyed by it, okay? And especially it's really significant if you're annoyed by it, because then all the more so it's just a reflection of who we are, what's inside of us. Moshe Rabbeinu, even inside himself, as well as all of the other tzaddikim, all of the other righteous people, had elements of darkness in them. Okay? There was that, she writes in this book, the famous mashal on page 158. I won't go through it right now, but, about Moshe Rabbeinu in terms of his raw state, in terms of who, the traits that he could have expressed would have been unbelievably evil. But he was managed to turn them around. Okay? So we learned that so now we have a definition of Shekhinah. Okay? Everything in the world, that was the chiddush, that was the novel idea that was expressed to Moshe. And then his question was, how can evil and good be together? How can the Shekhinah be infusing evil? How can you have a murderer, the divine presence is by a murderer or a thief? Right? It doesn't really make sense to him. Okay? So you have to really get into a definition of evil itself. So the Kabbalist is by the name of the Sulam, Rabbi Ashlag. He said, if God was the only thing before creation, he was the only thing that existed before creation, what did he make outside of himself, right, in order to bestow to another? What was it? What was his novel idea, this chiddush? Yesh mi'ayin, we say. Something from nothing. What was it that he made? Because he contained everything before creation. What was it? Anybody have an idea?
Wasn't it just himself?
Well, no, because he was it. He was everything and contained everything in one simple unity. He had to make something out that was not part of him. That was not had nothing. He had nothing to do with something outside of him, so to speak, if you could say such a thing, right? We can't fathom God in his essence, but you hear what I'm saying.
What can he make it out of himself?
He had to create a physical being.
Okay, but he had to withdraw himself in a space, so to speak, and create something that's not him. In order to have a creation, in order to have this concept of duality, of something other than him. What was it? So it comes down to two words again. Not bestow pleasure. That's the purpose of creation. It's called ratzon lekabel. Mm-hmm. Will to receive. Totally conceptual, but you're gonna see where it manifests.
This is mamash chassidut.
Yeah. Ratzon lekabel. Ratzon lekabel means will to receive. Because listen, God doesn't need to receive from anybody or anything. His whole will is to give. He doesn't know anything about receiving. What? He doesn't need our prayers. He doesn't need our prayers. Every single thing God does is for bestowing. He created something, a novel concept, wasn't part of him before, will to receive. Yes?
But doesn't this universe have the will, the desire to receive in order to give?
We'll get to there. You're already like 3 steps ahead. Very good.
Sorry.
Advanced student, okay? It's good. So, the idea here is, all right, so I said to my father-in-law, who was my teacher, my master and teacher, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. There's God, who's all there is, and the only thing that he made was different is will to receive, right? So he says that's all the difference in the world. Every single thing that we experience is made up of will to receive. Okay? We have built in us this concept or will to receive, right? You see it in kids all the time. It's very significant in kids. Gimme, 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 what's in it for me, right? You train them at a young age. If you learn Mishnayos, all the Mishnayos will buy you a bicycle, okay? So he learns and learns and learns and take a bicycle, right? Or whatever. I mean, candies, whatever it is. He doesn't want to share his toys. If you share your toys, I'll give you something else. Okay, there's an exchange. But first, in the beginning, he's all me. Meant to be like that, okay? It's the order of creation, as we'll get to. But just to get the definition of evil, okay? And it's really in the root sense of it, definition of evil is, well, extreme will to receive. Why? I want to receive this pleasure now. It's that one statement. And of course, what happens is, it doesn't care what it has to do in order to get that pleasure, whatever it is. Murder, steal, I want this money now. It has to steal to get it, if it steals, that's evil, right? It always comes down to the root is, I want this now. Okay? Like a child, okay? Now, children are angels, of course, then they need training, but in terms of the root definition of evil is that. Okay?
But
yeah.
isn't there such a thing as not wanting something, but just being angry and wanting to cause harm?
Well, because you want something.
Well,
The person wants either peace of mind, to be left alone. He wants something. He wouldn't do an action. Simply, they want they get pleasure out of torturing small children for fun. They don't care if it hurts the children. That's its desire to receive. So evil is that, obviously, in an extreme form, and then there's the neutral area, right? Which can go either way, which is basically how we occupy ourselves in the world through all of our mundane activities of eating, drinking, and all the other activities which you can turn into a mitzvah, or it could be the other way around, right? A person who eats just for the sake of eating, just to stuff his face, what happens, right? Or a person who eats for the sake of heaven in order to be strong and healthy and worship Hashem, then he elevates the food, okay? So it can go either way. But anyways, the basic definition of evil, an enemy we discussed already. An enemy, which basically doesn't have to be somebody who's like an outright enemy. It could be something that annoys you. It could be anything that blocks your peace of mind, or blocks your success, or blocks your potential, or blocks you from accessing yourself. Now, she gives an unbelievable definition here earlier on. Didn't have the ability to photocopy everything, okay? And this is where it gets into where we're going, because we're working on changing our relationship, our perception, and therefore changing our relationship to those things that annoy us, even if they be in ourselves. Okay? She doesn't mention my definition of evil. She has something else, which adds just another piece of the puzzle. Okay? If you just want to know, for the sake of your notes, it's on page 39. Okay? It says in the second paragraph, evil is best defined. Listen, you're going to love this, okay? You're going to love this. This is if you'd only get this out of the class, it's worth it. Evil is best defined as the illusion of other than God. Again, evil is best defined as the illusion of other than God. Something else other than God.
there isn't anything.
The word illusion is significant since nothing is really apart from God, as we know. For God is one. And when we say, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, we're not saying he's one, not two. We're saying he's all there is. As a matter of fact, every time we do that, it's an unbelievable, powerful meditation, and we do it twice a day, as really we're supposed to just completely almost melt into existence.
Rabbi, all the rationalists.
So the word illusion is significant since nothing is really apart from God, for God is one. Material reality is nothing but divinity in a state of concealment and contraction, and that's where we go, the next step.